Welcome back to On the Edge. I'm Alex G, and I'm here with my special guest all the way from the USA, Field McConnell. Now, Phil, we've still got quite a few questions from our audience coming in. One thing I wanted to clarify, we were talking about your sister earlier. Now, this is a lady called Christine Marcy?
Yes, Christine Marcy.
And what it says on Wikipedia about her is she's a retired federal executive with over 30 years of experience in 10 federal departments and agencies. So are you suggesting that that put her in the right place to actually get involved in the conspiracy, as it were?
Not only it put her there by design, by discretion, and I'll give you two more names of similar people who have backgrounds that are sort of unknown. None of your viewers have ever heard my sister's name, Christine Marcy, but your viewers in England certainly have heard the name David Cameron.
Yes.
And
yes.
The viewers all over the world have heard the name Barack Obama.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Well, all three of these entities are unknown. You have a David Cameron who has an interesting work history, which is very similar to Barack Obama's work history, which is basically unknown, undisclosed, unproven. It may not be a problem with David Cameron. It's a huge problem to Americans. I believe 91% of us now wonder who this guy is. I happen to go to the same high school as him, Punahou School in Honolulu, Hawaii.
Right.
And I graduated 12 years ahead of him, so I hope that he will give me the latitude as an upperclassman of speaking the truth. But David Cameron and Barack Obama are sort of old ink. So let's go a different direction to somebody that your viewers never would have heard of before this show of yours tonight, Alex.
Yep.
It's my sister, Christine Marcy. And there's only two kids in my family, myself and my sister. We had two parents who are now buried in Arlington National Cemetery.
Right.
My father was a career Air Force pilot who was a POW of the Japanese in World War II. My mother was an Army nurse who nursed him back to health. They were married 62 years. They were very patriotic Americans, and I want to stop there for the Europeans in the crowd and say just because an American is patriotic like I am does not mean we support American foreign policy like I do not.
Right.
However, my sister has a master's in foreign service, and I would say that whether it's because she was extorted, threatened, or willingly went down that road, she's in a position, like others, where they've been given a whole salad bar of different jobs, none of which they have no experience in any of them, none of which they are masters of, and it's my belief that the most sinister link here is something no one in this room has probably heard of, the Senior Executive Service in the United States of America. And what that did is, let's say this is a column, the Department of Defense. There's tens of thousands of great patriots in the Department of Defense, many of them well prepared to conduct war properly.
Yeah.
Senior Executive Service, they come and get right on top of the Department of Defense, and they dictate downward what to do, and they suppress upward criticism. And the Senior Executive Service was created in 1979, so for 32 years that entire branch of the U.S. government has been laying low, and it's my understanding that it was my own sister that created the Senior Executive Service with the blessing of then President Jimmy Carter. And what their agenda is, I do not know. But keep in mind, she has a Master's of Foreign Service.
So it's another one of these departments, organisations that keeps a very low profile but puts itself in a very, very important position then.
Very important if you wish to take any entity sideways, whether it's an entity such as the elected government of the United States of America. You can come in overnight and take control of the whole government. And many of the people in America who, like me, question some things like our foreign policy, where did the president come from? I'm not alone. I'm probably in a majority when it comes to questioning our authorities. We as citizens, and you as citizens of England, we need to demand that our authorities are legitimate and that they are doing things that are in the best interest of our countries and our citizens. And we as Americans are getting fairly active. I understand there's getting to be isolated populations within England, especially the ex-military people. Some of the military that's currently given their pink slips while they're on duty in Afghanistan. There's some very bad leadership in the world right now. And I as an individual do everything I can to put the spotlight on the bad individuals, knowing that they are a mathematical super minority, but they are given superpower above the majority of people who would like to do the right thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Another question then, from Hamish, this one. Is there any truth in the story that Charles Burlingame, who was pilot of Flight 77, was involved in a war game exactly 1 year before 9/11?
The man's name is Captain Francis Chick Burlingame. He's my Naval Academy classmate. Something that nobody, including Jesse Ventura, is aware of is that, yes, what you say is true. He was a war gamer at the Pentagon in the Navy Reserves. He did participate in the planning of a attack on America iconic buildings, and it doesn't get more iconic than the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and the U.S. Capitol, which was the fourth target. And the name I'm going to give you that no one in the 9/11 world has ever heard of, and none of our critics have ever heard of, is there is a brigadier general in the North Dakota Air National Guard whose name is Paul Knox, K-N-O-X, the significance of which is Paul Knox was one step above Chick Burlingame in his vertical chain of command at the Pentagon in this branch that did wargaming. And when we're talking about wargamers with great mathematical probability of being unlikely that a wargamer would die in the same war game he's stick flown many times. There were 5 civilians that died from Raytheon Corporation. This is all out there. That's no secret. They died in 3 of the 4 9/11 jets. And my suggestion, and I'm betting my life that I'm right, and I'm right, is that the Raytheon has a pretty high signature in the events of 9/11, however you characterize them. If you characterize them as a Muslim terrorist attack, first of all, I think that's terribly disrespectful to Muslims. But say it as it is, and that's how it's been couched by our media in America. Or if you say it was an inside job, which is also wrong. It was not an inside job, and I say that based on the fact that it's my own Air National Guard unit that tried to respond on 9/11, and what stopped them was the senior executive service. So that's a very good question from Hamish, and it's absolutely accurate. And I want to give you one more specific thing that any of your listeners can Google the next break. The name of the document that they were working on that planned the flying events of 9/11, I'm going to spell it. I'll say it first, Amalgam Virgo 01. I'll spell it alpha numerically correctly. Alpha, Mike, Alpha, Lima, Golf, Alpha, Mike, 01. Amalgam Virgo 01. The significance is it's 35-page color document which shows the planning of the attack from drones launched over the Gulf of Mexico, flying north, and an airliner coming across the Seattle area and turning directly towards the Capitol. These are the plans for the attack of 9/11, for the practice. And the practice, here's a little bit of precise information for your critics out there. The 1st and 2nd of June of 2001, the practice for the flying events of 9/11 was conducted at Tyndall Air Force Base, Florida, and the second senior man in NORAD, whose name is General Charles Bouchard, this will send chills up your spine because today he's running the air war over Libya, and he was number 2 at NORAD at the site of the practice on the day the exercise went live in New York and Washington, D.C., killing my classmate Chick Burlingame and implicating my sister.